Virgo doesn't fear failure. They don't fear making mistakes. They don't even fear being wrong. What Virgo fears is much quieter, and far more painful. If you are a Virgo, or if you've ever loved one, stay until the end. Because what you're about to hear may explain why you've been pushing yourself for years without knowing why. And if this resonates, save this, follow, and come back for the next signs in this series. What's hidden beneath the surface only gets deeper from here. People think they understand Virgo. They call Virgo a perfectionist. They say Virgo is detail-obsessed, overly critical, impossible to satisfy. Some even believe Virgo is cold, emotionally distant, or too logical to feel deeply. But all of that is just the outer shell. Virgo isn't obsessed with perfection because they love control. They aren't terrified of mistakes. Those behaviors are symptoms, not the root. To understand Virgo psychology, you have to look beneath the logic, beneath the discipline, beneath the constant self-correction. And there, you'll find Virgo's deepest fear. Virgo is not afraid of being unloved. Virgo is afraid of becoming unnecessary. What truly haunts Virgo is the idea of a future where they no longer serve a purpose in anyone's life. A future where no one needs their help, their insight, their effort, or their presence. A future where they are no longer the person people rely on when things fall apart. This fear doesn't show up as panic or despair. It shows up as discipline. As responsibility. As a constant need to be useful. Virgo rarely thinks, "I'm afraid I don't matter." Instead, the fear whispers quietly, "If I don't contribute, why would anyone keep me?" Somewhere early in life, emotionally, energetically, or psychologically, Virgo learns a subtle but dangerous equation. Worth equals usefulness. Love follows contribution. Safety comes from being needed. No one may have said it directly, but Virgo felt it deeply. Approval came after achievement. Attention followed competence. Care arrived when they were helpful. So Virgo adapted. They learned to anticipate problems before they happened. They learned to fix what others ignored. They learned to make themselves indispensable. And over time, usefulness became identity. To Virgo, being needed feels like proof of existence. If they are helpful, they belong. If they are not, they feel replaceable. This is why Virgo struggles so deeply with stillness. Silence makes the fear louder. Doing nothing feels like slowly disappearing. Rest feels earned only after exhaustion, never before. This is also why Virgo has such a complicated relationship with asking for help. Because asking means admitting a moment where they are not the solution. And in that moment, a terrifying question appears. If I'm not the one fixing things, who am I? So Virgo keeps going. Keeps improving. Keeps offering more than is asked. Keeps functioning long after they should have stopped. Not because they love being strong. But because weakness feels dangerously close to becoming irrelevant. Over time, this creates a quiet exhaustion that few people notice. Virgo often appears calm, capable, and stable. But internally, they are mentally overworked, emotionally restrained, and constantly monitoring themselves. They don't ask, "Do I deserve rest?" They ask, "Have I done enough to earn it?" And the answer is almost always not yet. This fear also explains why Virgo is often misunderstood as critical. Virgo doesn't point out flaws to judge. They point them out to prevent loss. Loss of stability. Loss of safety. Loss of worth. Fixing problems is how Virgo protects themselves, and the people they care about, from chaos. From failure. From becoming unnecessary. Ironically, this often pushes others away. People feel corrected instead of understood. Judged instead of supported. And when others pull back, Virgo doesn't feel angry. They feel confirmed. Confirmed in the belief that they must try even harder to be valuable. This creates a silent loop that Virgo can stay trapped in for years. Virgo fears becoming useless, so they overfunction. Others rely on them, but don't truly see them. Virgo feels unseen and unappreciated. So they give more, fix more, and demand more from themselves. The loop tightens quietly. Almost politely. In love, this fear becomes even more subtle. Virgo loves through service. Through care. Through fixing what's broken. Through anticipating needs before they're spoken. But beneath all of that lives an unspoken question. If I stop doing, will you still stay? Virgo wants to be loved for who they are. But deep down, they're not convinced that's possible. So instead of risking rejection, they make themselves indispensable. This is the tragedy of Virgo's deepest fear. They want unconditional love, but they don't believe they qualify for it without proof. So they try to earn what was never meant to be earned. Virgo's healing does not come from doing more. It doesn't come from becoming better, sharper, or more efficient. It doesn't come from fixing one last flaw or reaching one final standard. True healing begins when Virgo slowly allows themselves to question a belief they've lived by for most of their life. What if my value is not tied to my usefulness? For Virgo, this thought feels unsettling. Almost irresponsible. As if letting go of usefulness means letting go of control, safety, and identity all at once. But healing asks Virgo to sit with an uncomfortable truth. You do not need to earn your place. You do not need to justify your existence. You do not need to be productive to be worthy of love. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to receive without repayment. You are allowed to exist without fixing anything. This doesn't mean Virgo becomes careless or passive. Their intelligence remains. Their clarity remains. Their ability to improve systems and people remains. What changes is the fear underneath. When Virgo stops measuring their worth by how much they contribute, something softens inside them. They begin to feel instead of monitor. They begin to receive instead of calculate. They begin to trust that love doesn't disappear the moment they stop being useful. Virgo doesn't need to become less capable. They need to believe that even on days when they offer nothing, solve nothing, and fix nothing, they still belong. And for Virgo, that belief is not weakness. It is the deepest form of courage they will ever practice. If this felt uncomfortably accurate, you're not alone. This is only the beginning of the series. Next signs: Scorpio, Taurus, Aries, Gemini, Capricorn, each carrying a fear they rarely admit, even to themselves. Follow, save, and share this with a Virgo who needs to hear it, even if they pretend they don't.